Bamboozler is the only lightweight charger and has the highest single target DPS in the class of not counting greater charger. And is also in other ways very unique. You first up the painting pattern for charges. Steps. A bit more about that in a bit. Also well paint, charges, and taps. And funnily enough, taps actually be better to coverage faster than full charges. Hard to see here, but trust me on that. Well, if you just need this to climb up and then just charge anyway. A bit more about painting mobility. There are some here. There would be this, because this is not really possible. But you can also do double tap. You get like this kind of trail. Triple tap would complete it. But again, there we go. However, there's something that you can do to artificially get a triple tap without triple tapping, and that is double tapping while moving forward. There you go. Now you got a straight line to move in. Really important to know this. Gonna help your mobility with this quite a lot. Not exactly a mobility thing because it lightweight so has got the paint on it is really spotty. You always wanna double tap move forward. Similar things to that. Gonna get enough move in. And more about paint flipper zones. They are really awful to paint up. What you can do is throw a bomb and then your main weapon after that. That should cover it much more consistently. You can also deal with chumps that might contest the zone. And yeah, the painting on this is its biggest weakness for sure. Then what also can be a bit of an issue is it's one of the chargers that do not have piercing. As far as numbers go, it's actually pretty similar to Sniper. 60 for the tap, 160 for the charge. So that means if you remember enemy matchups, Drizzlers will be exactly 5 full charges for this, and you can one cycle just fine. Everything else it becomes a lot more technical. Bamboozler is very technical in fact. Warface you can tap down as usual. You can charging a bit over half and then killing them. Roughly 60%. Believe. Make sure to not undercharge it, like it's better to overcharge it and then a few frames, that way you're gonna lose less frames than having to tap at them again. So don't worry about it, don't hasten it. Like here this 101 was really close. You don't want to land on 99 or something. Don't steal it, just 2 full charges. So there. I've heard that people get annoyed by it not one-shotting like chargers usually do. Just do 2 full charges and they're fast enough, you would even have time for 3, so if you're not there in time or whatever, there's some leeway, don't worry about it, you can always get in one cycle pretty much. Cohawks, 2 full charges and 1 half charge. You see these things get quite interesting to remember, like Chump 60% Cohawk half charge after the full charges. It's more like that when we get to 500 HP bosses, which we will do now. 3 full charges, the tap. So you kill those the fastest, of course doesn't matter in what order you do this. Do the tap in the middle, can do the tap at start. Yeah, can be creative there. Whistler torpedo, same as Cam, of course. Big shot, yeah, pretty much just full charges all day, it has way too much HP anyway, and full charges give you the best DPS. If you do it frame perfectly, would be 369. A little bit of a splatter shot DPS. Don't of course a bit lower. For one to release that full charge, listen for the audio cue here. If you do it before that, then you're not getting a full charge. You don't need to hear that and then release. Demonstrating here. But right there, I missed one again. So this is a very rhythm-heavy weapon when it comes to just dealing big numbers of damage. Hey, fish sticks. I didn't mention fish sticks and stingers. Sticks you can just tap down from the ground easily. Oh, you're right about range as well. This thing always has max range. Show you the range for full charge here. This is also the tap range exactly. Then your stingers, of course, you can just tap them down from, again, max range, of course. But if you wanna move in for an egg, that is fine to just make sure that you're safe. There's like a small crowd of lasers, then clear that. Also just stay away and at the next faster. Works pretty much. And that should cover, I believe. Move on to night waves. First up, Mothership. This weapon is very good for Mothership. Can hit Chinooks from long range, one-shotting them. It's also really good at collecting eggs with how fast it moves. Then Rush, you can just tap spam Rush pretty much. You're gonna one-shot Shams. If you're like hitting goldies with that for chip damage, that is fine too. But when they're getting to basket, of course, then full charges is still better to get more DP. As long as they're far from the basket, I'd say don't, but I just the thing. Might hit a chum anyway, and a chum you always ever wanna tap. Actually, quite a decent charger for Rush, I have to say. The chargers tend to be not great for Rush. This one is just a bit easy for it. Because not the kind of weapon that would carry the Rush or anything. It can exist in that. Realize nothing really to say there other than avoid small frays like usual with chargers. Damage to the gorilla fast for killing. Speaking, you're really good at opening gashas. Yeah, open those gashas fast and precisely. But of course, another nice thing is you can DPS the goldie from far away sometimes even. So you wanna position right somewhere in the middle of its path roughly. Don't necessarily be close to it, just let your teammates be close to it, then somewhere on high ground. You can really nicely. Don't need to avoid lasers though. Just watch out for that. Alright. That I believe the Bamboozler.